the flow of a river, or the direction of the wind. For thousands of years, human life followed patterns like these, slow, predictable, and bound to nature. A merchant in the year 1700 lived in a world not so different from one in ancient Rome. Everything was made by hand. Production was local. Energy came from muscle, water, or wind. But in the late 18th century, in the damp, mineral-rich lands of Great Britain, that ancient rhythm began to break. Humanity discovered something extraordinary. We learned how to extract power from the earth itself and scale it beyond anything the world had ever seen. We call it the Industrial Revolution. Beginning around 1760, this transformation spread from Britain to Europe and eventually to the United States. It marked the shift from hand production to machines, from human labor to mechanical power. For the first time in history, civilization was no longer limited by natural forces. Instead, it was driven by them. Why did it begin in Britain? By the mid-18th century, Great Britain was the most powerful commercial nation on Earth. Its empire stretched across continents, from the Caribbean to India. It was a nation of merchants, innovators, and risk-takers. But more importantly, it was sitting on a vast reserve of coal. This single resource changed everything. Coal was cheap, abundant, and packed with energy. Combined with Britain's culture of innovation, it became the fuel that ignited a global transformation. 5 key factors made Britain the perfect place for industrialization. First, agricultural efficiency. New farming techniques meant more food could be produced with fewer workers, freeing thousands of people to seek jobs elsewhere. Second, political stability. Britain's legal system protected property and encouraged investment, allowing businesses to grow. Third, geography. As an island with navigable rivers and long coastlines, transport was easier and cheaper than in most countries. Fourth, the scientific revolution. A culture of experimentation had already rooted Groot, encouraging invention. And finally, a powerful economic imbalance. In Britain, labor was expensive, but energy was cheap. That created a simple incentive: build machines to replace people. Before factories, production was done at home. This was known as the putting out system. In small villages, families worked together. Women spun thread, men wove cloth, and goods were produced slowly, by hand. But demand was rising fast, especially for cotton. British consumers had developed a taste for fine cotton textiles imported from India. These fabrics were softer, lighter, and often superior in quality. British producers couldn't compete. So instead of matching India, they tried to outproduce it. And that's when the breakthroughs began. In 1733, John Kay invented the flying shuttle, a device that doubled the speed of weaving. But it created a problem. Weavers could now produce cloth faster than spinners could supply yarn. For years, this imbalance slowed progress, until James Hargreaves introduced the spinning jenny. This machine allowed a single worker to spin multiple threads at once. For the first time, production was scaling. Then came Richard Arkwright. He took things further with the water frame, a machine powered by flowing water. It was too large for homes, forcing production out of cottages and into centralized buildings. Factories were born. Soon after, Samuel Crompton combined these innovations into the spinning mule, producing threads stronger and finer than ever before. The results were staggering. By 1850, Britain's cotton imports had exploded, and cities like Manchester transformed into industrial giants. Factories multiplied, smoke filled the skies, and the sound of machinery became the heartbeat of a new world. But progress came at a cost. As machine production increased, traditional industries collapsed. Indian textile workers, once leaders of global trade, were undercut by British factories. Millions lost their livelihoods. At the same time, another revolution was unfolding underground.
Coal mines were expanding and flooding. To solve this, engineers turned to steam power. The first successful steam engine, developed by Thomas Newcomen, was used to pump water out of mines. It was inefficient, but effective. Then came James Watt. He redesigned the engine, making it dramatically more efficient by introducing a separate condenser. This one improvement changed everything. Now steam engines could power machines directly. Factories no longer needed rivers. They could be built anywhere. And they were. Steam-powered looms, furnaces, and hammers. It drove industry forward with relentless force. For the first time in history, energy was unlimited.
At the same time, iron production was transforming. Instead of charcoal, manufacturers began using coke, a coal-based fuel, to produce iron more efficiently. This led to stronger materials, cheaper production, and new possibilities. Bridges, machines, railways. The world was being rebuilt in iron. As factories spread, people moved massively. Rural populations flooded into cities in search of work. Towns expanded into industrial centers almost overnight. Manchester became the symbol of this transformation. Its population surged. But the growth was chaotic. Housing couldn't keep up. Families crowded into slums. Streets were filthy. Clean water was scarce. Disease spread rapidly. Life expectancy dropped. In some areas, more than half of all children died before the age of 5. Inside factories, conditions were just as harsh. Workers labored 12 to 14 hours a day, 6 days a week, and many of them were children. Young boys and girls worked dangerous jobs for a fraction of adult wages. They crawled under machines, fixed broken threads, and risked injury daily. This reality shocked society and eventually led to reform. The first factory laws began limiting child labor and improving working conditions. Slowly, change began. Despite the hardship, a new class emerged: the middle class. Business owners, engineers, clerks, people who benefited from industrial growth. They lived more comfortably, they consumed more goods, and they helped fuel a new consumer economy. But industry needed something else: movement. Transport had to evolve. First came canals, allowing heavy goods like coal to be transported efficiently. Then came the railways. Powered by steam engines and built from iron, trains revolutionized travel. Distances that once took days could now be crossed in hours. Cities connected, ideas spread. The world became smaller. Industrialization didn't stay in Britain. It spread. Belgium followed, using its coal reserves to build industry. France developed more gradually. Germany industrialized rapidly after unification, becoming a powerhouse. The United States introduced mass production through interchangeable parts, and Japan transformed itself during the Meiji Restoration, rapidly adopting modern industry. The revolution was now global. Not everyone welcomed it. Many skilled workers lost their jobs to machines. Some fought back. The Luddites destroyed factory equipment, trying to stop the change, but it was unstoppable. Out of this struggle came something new: organized labor. Trade unions formed, giving workers a collective voice. They fought for better wages, shorter hours, and safer conditions. And over time, they began to win. The Industrial Revolution also sparked new ideas. Thinkers debated its impact. Some saw progress, others saw exploitation. Writers and artists mourned the loss of nature. Early environmental concerns began to emerge as pollution filled the air and water. Society was changing, rapidly and irreversibly. By the late 19th century, a second wave began. Steel replaced iron, electricity replaced gas, oil began to replace coal. Cities lit up at night, factories ran around the clock. Mass production created a world of abundance and consumption. Modern life had arrived. Looking back, the Industrial Revolution was one of the most important turning points in human history. It brought growth, innovation, and opportunity, but it also brought inequality, pollution, and hardship. It reshaped economies, societies, and the environment.
and its legacy is still with us today. We are the descendants of that first coal-fired spark, a species that once followed the rhythms of nature, now moves at the speed of machines. The Industrial Revolution didn't just change how we live, it changed what it means to be human. And once it began, there was no going back. This was the birth of the modern world, and we're still living in it.